Aloha, Richard Halverson here, and this is ITS 128. And I'm going to start doing the projects in Chapter 7. So I'm going to try to start with the first one. Let me move over to the Pearson Revel here, and let me open up a version of our textbook here. And So I'm just going to go to my table of contents, and I'm going to go down to Chapter 7, and I'm going to open up programming project number 1. All right, question 1 here. So we have a program here that's going to read in a list of scores separated by spaces in one line, and then assigns the grades based on the following scheme. So we read in a bunch of scores. And then looks like we got to figure out what the best score is. And then after that, an A is considered from the best score down to 10 points below the best score. A B is considered from that point down to 20 points below the best score. And a C, the bottom of the C's is 30 points below the best score. The bottom of the D's is 40 points, and below that is an F. All right, so here's an example of how it should execute when it runs. We're reading in 4 scores here, and we see that 70 is the biggest one. So first it has to go through all these scores and figure out the max, and that's 70. And then from 70 to 60 is an A, from 60 to 50 is a B, from 50 to 40, and so on. So the first one is a C, because 70 to 60 is an A, 60 to 50 is a B, 50 to 40 is a C. So that's a C. And then we see that 55 is a B, and 70 is the top one. Of course, that's an A, and 58 is above 60, is below 60, but above 50, so that's why it's a B. All right, so we have to write this. All right, so we're going to use the split. Let me go back to our table of contents and look at Chapter 7. And we are going to be doing not slicing, splitting. We're going to be doing this thing here. Where we can, where we get a string like this, and we can use the split function on the string. And by the way, this is the actual string. It's normally you might see this as a variable. And then we do the split thing, and it splits it into an array or a list. And so list, in this case, list of items of 0 is going to be Jane. Items of 1 is going to be John. Items of 2 is Peter, and items of 3 is Susan. So it's going to look like this: Jane, Peter, Susan. And so that's the function we're going to use. Inputting lists. Here we can start out. Let's look at this one here. We're going to use this one here. So we input a string S, and this says enter 10 numbers separated by spaces on one line. So it's going to be a bunch of numbers, each separated by a space. And then here we split them into 10 items in the list. And then here we're doing this. We're doing a for loop for all the items in the list using this float. And in our case, we would use integer. So I'm going to copy this out here and put it someplace. So I'm going to start by putting it here. Now, you may have looked on this online. We can create multi-line comments by doing 3 quotes in a row and then pasting in what we want the comment to be, and then closing it up. So I want all the so I want to include this as a comments just for my reference, and I'm also going to go back to table of contents and go to the projects, and let's look at the first project here again. And it's this one. Okay, here's our project, and I tell you what, I'm going to copy this out too, just because I'd like to have everything in one place for my reference. Copy. So let me paste that in here also. I'm just going to paste that here. Okay, so I've got, so these are my comments, and so I'm going to start writing my program down here, I think. Okay, so I'm going to start out by reading in. Okay, so this is what it's got to look like. This is what a sample run looks like. So I'm going to start out with, and I might as well use S, just like this. So I'm going to do this. S input, oh, it's got to look like this. Enter scores, enter scores. Okay, enter scores, and it's going to go into S. And then I'm going to say, I might as well say, I can use items, why not? I might as well do this whole thing. I want to make them integers. Convert items to numbers, integers. Okay, so this list is going to be the list of scores, which I'm going to call scores, is taking this, what was entered. See, these are string values. You know, this isn't really 40, the value 40. This is the string 4, the character for 4, followed by the character for 0. So it's got to be converted into the number, into the integer 40, and that's what this is going to do. So this creates a list it's the integer version of X for all X's in items, and items is what was read in split based on a space. That's what that, you could do this. We're splitting it on the space. But if that's not there, it defaults to the space. All right, so that's our scores, and you know what I'm going to do now is I'm going to print out, just to make sure that I have. I'm going to print out the item. Okay, okay. Let me print. Okay, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to loop through each of the scores and figure out what the biggest one is. Okay, figure out what the best score is. So I'm going to do best equals, and I'm going to say it's equal to the first one, scores of 0. And these are integers now, so that's fine. Best equals scores of 0. And then I'm going to loop through all the scores, and each time I'm going to figure out what the max is of best in that score. So I'm going to do for score in scores. Okay, that's the loop for all the scores in scores. I'm going to figure out, I'm going to say best is equal to the max of best, comma, score. Okay, so it's going to take each score one at a time, and it's going to figure out the maximum between these two, and it's going to store that into best. So it's going to it's going to hit all the scores inside here, and at the end it'll record. It'll have saved up the best, the highest one. So I'm gonna so I'm just going to put out some print statements here, and I'm going to have to take these print statements out before I actually put them in to see if the thing works. But so I'm going to print out the score right here, score. I want to see what all better string. See, I think I can just do score, right? And it'll convert it to a string. And then at the end, I'm going to say print best. Okay, I'm going to say print best equals best. And I'm going to see what this looks like. So let me save this as, I'm going to save it on my desktop, and I'm going to call it test.py. So here we are on my desktop. Oop, can't do that. Can I just do, I can't do this, huh? Okay, so there it is. And so let me pull up this thing because I need to get the actual address of the path to this. So it's my path to the desktop. It's this. This is my path to my desktop. I'm going to copy this, and then I'm going to open up a command line and open this up, and I'm going to do cd that, and there I am, dir, and here I am. Okay, so there's my test.py. So I'm going to try to run that. Python test.py, enter scores. So let me make this smaller, and let me go and find out what these scores are. Am I still there? There I am. It's these, okay, 40, 55, 70, 58. I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to pull this back up, and I'm going to paste it. Oh, there you go. Enter scores, enter. And we see here we're just printing out each of the scores as they were read in, 40, 55, 70, 58, and it was able to figure out that the best score was 70. Okay, so that part works. And so, so now that we've got the best score, now we just need to go through and loop again, and we need to do this logic here. So if the score is greater than or equal to best minus 10, then we do something. Then it's the grade is an A. So let's start over here again. Let's do oh, I'm going to take this out of here because I don't need that anymore, and I'm going to take this out of here because I don't need that anymore. I already know that it works. So I'm going to say grade for score in scores. Oh, I have to do this number 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so I got to number the students. Several ways I can do that. I guess I can do for I in range of length of scores for I in that range. Oh, I gotta figure out the grade. No, I don't need to do that. Okay. If, oh, let me just copy this up here. If this, copy, if that, then grade equals A. Elif this, oh, there's no is. Okay, let me just type it then. Elif score is, oh, I got to do this. Scores I is greater than or equal to best minus 20, then grade is equal to B. And I got to repeat this a few times. B, C, D, Elif, else grade equals F. And this is B, C, C, and this is D, and this is 30, and this is 40. Oops. Okay, so if scores of I, okay, we're going through all the scores. We're going through all the scores. If scores of I is greater than or equal to the best score minus 10, so in other words, if in this case the best score is 70, so if it's greater than or equal to 60, then it's an A. Else, if it's greater than or equal to 50, then it's a B. Else, if it's greater than or equal to 40, it's a C. Else, if it's greater than or equal to 30, it's a D. Otherwise, it's an F. So, and then at the end, we have everything. So we're going to do print student, comma, I, comma, score is, comma, scores of I, and I think that should work even though it's an integer, and the grade is, comma, grade. Okay, let's see if that works. Save this, put some space down there. Save this, and let's type in this, copy, and let's go back here and do up, enter. Ah, okay. We have this invalid character problem. See that? Now, it took me a long time to figure this out, but there's a problem with this character right here. If you look very closely, see if I can look very closely. Is there a way to make it bigger? Zoom in. Control mouse wheel up. Control, let's see if I can zoom this, okay. I guess it's, that's pretty nifty. Okay. You'll notice that this character is different than this character, okay? Well, that's what's causing us the problem, because it's saying that this is not a valid character. Well, with this particular editor, Notepad++, I can go over and view, no, I can do encoding. How do I do that? Let me do this. ANSI. Oh, look at that. Okay, it converted to that funny character. Encoding. Okay, so let's that's a funny character. I thought there was a way I could actually display all the funny characters. View on top. Toggle posted. Probably is a way, but anyway, so I know it's this character here, so I'm just going to replace that with a hyphen, so it looks just like that, and I think this should work now. Save, up arrow, enter scores. Okay, paste my the scores I entered, and it only did the last one. You know why? Because I put this outside the loop. It's got to be inside the loop. Okay. So it's got to be done with every iteration of the for, and not after it's all done. The way it is right now, it's only going to do the last score, which is what we see here. Anyway, I think I've given you enough to complete this problem, so I will leave it at that. And in fact, I say what I'm going to do. I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to paste it in here and see what happens. Paste, submit. And it says, checking output, your standard output is not what was expected. Well, that sure gives me a lot of information here. Well, anyway, but you know what the problem is. It's because this is only printed once, and it should be printed inside the loop. Okay, so I will close this now and create another video for the next problem assignment. So thanks for watching.